Rockstar is asking its writers for Grand Theft Auto 6 to be less crude towards transgender people and other minorities, the common targets of throwaway gags in previous versions. I don't even know if that's entirely true, to be honest, but this is an interesting new little data point. Because, well, does this mean anything in and of itself? No. Does it mean something with all of the other rumors swirling around Grand Theft Auto 6? Very possibly. So, GTA 6 has had a fair few little rumors going on around it ever since the release of the trailer, which had elements of progressivism in it, shall we say. And a lot of people were looking at it and going, this looks a tiny bit woke, don't you think? And I too looked at it and was like, okay, in and of itself, not really, but there are definitely red flag indicators here. And these red flags have grown larger ever since, with certain hiring practices and now stuff like this, seeming to create protected classes within the game. See, here's the thing. You do not solve racism by thought policing. You do not solve it by carving out special protections for certain itty-bitty groups that you decide are worthy of particular privileges not extended to others. In fact, this causes racism and hatred. When there is a group of people who are given artificial advantages over other groups, that doesn't engender loving adoration, it engenders resentment, as any 5-year-old who's recently having his toy taken away will explain to you. See, the solution to racism is what we did in the late 90s and early 2000s. It is not to minimize it, is it instead to bring it to the front. The era of racial comedy was probably the least racist period in Western history. Why? Because everyone was actually unironically equal. We all had our times being ribbed. White people, black people, Asian people, everybody got their turn to be roasted. And this included everyone. It made everyone feel as if they were in on the joke. And it made all of it feel inclusive rather than mean-spirited. Nobody was given special privileges, and so we were all too happy to take our time, our turn more correctly, on the pillory when it came around. Simple. That was the solution, but much like renewable energy people rejecting nuclear power, the actual source of near limitless and largely clean and effective energy, well, the solution to the problem doesn't write a whole lot of checks, now does it? The entire point why we have racism around today is because of the power it brings with it. The fact that we refuse to simply kill it and put it out of its misery, as we were well on the way to doing, is that self-interest. But anyways, we're wandering somewhat off the point here, so this article talks a little bit about Grand Theft Auto 6, how it will rule the video game industry in 2025, and yep, it probably will, at least initially. See, I do have some thoughts about whether or not it will be quite as dominant as its predecessor. I don't think so, especially not with the way that the cultural winds are currently shifting. Now, it depends on the delivery, of course, but already we can see some shadows of issues beginning to form here. See, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be a massive seller. When it comes out, it will sell millions of copies overnight. Like that, no questions about it. Furthermore, it will probably have one of those, $100 play early kind of style deals, because they know that a lot of people, tens, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, will be suckered into that. Myself included, because, well, this is what I do for a living now, so if they ask me to fork over $100, well, screw me, I do suppose. And Rockstar knows it can get away with it. In fact, I would not be surprised if the game starts out at a base price of like $100 and they ask double that for the early access. See, Rockstar is right now in a position to take the money and run, as they've built up a tremendous amount of community goodwill with the preceding title, and many companies before them have decided to cash in on equivalent goodwill before. Will Rockstar be different? Hey, I hope so. Do I think so? We'll see. I am a wizened old cynic after all. But there are some interesting things here. They mentioned the hack in 2022, which, I love this part by the way. Development of GTA 6 began a decade ago, but only started in earnest after Rockstar's latest major release, 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2. That project pushed the development team to the brink, requiring late hours on creating a culture of tension and aggression. You mean a culture of creating an absolutely fantastic video game with assloads of attention to detail? Did you, by any chance, change that? Seeking to improve workplace culture, the company ousted several executives and promised a more reasonable schedule. Yes, you did. See, here's the thing. I am not for the grind, of course, the crunch as they call it and so on, but the reality of the matter is that in certain circumstances, you kinda just have to do it. You have to finish the product. That is simply how it works. And if you cannot, and ideally of course, you would like to structure the program, the project, in such a way that you don't need to crunch it. But that is very rarely actually possible, particularly on something the size of, I don't know, one of the largest video games ever produced. And the reduction of this, like, oh no, we can't have this isn't evil, we gotta get rid of everyone who thinks it's good. Well, the problem is it will usually actually get rid of the people who are willing to push for the best conceivable product. You can see this in Blizzard, for example. Blizzard used to be a corporation famous for an incredible attention to detail and a remarkable level of polish. Now? Now you're lucky if you can start the games they release. But a massive hack in 2022 complicated things, leading Rockstar to clamp down on remote work and direct employees to return to the office 5 days a week. Oh, the absolute tyrants. So they've fired a bunch of executives, and they have, for quite a while, been working out of office. In fact, for like 4 years or something, which, I tell ya, that does not increase productivity. For like 5% of the population, maybe, but for the majority, oh, God, no. Now, they've also mentioned here that there were a fair few delays in the game, which is unsurprising considering the sheer scale and scope of it and so on. But this, like, we've got a few data points now. We've got the Bonnie and Clyde duo, which personally, I don't mind at all. I am presuming that they're simply just going to be like, okay, here's Bonnie, here's Clyde. Pick whichever one you want, and then the other one will be your sidekick companion, which actually sounds great to me, and I'm very interested in seeing how they're actually going to carry that out. Alternatively, you might be skipping between the characters, possibly, but I'd honestly prefer the companion route massively myself. And then there is the be more kind to the transgenders and the minorities. The minorities in total. Okay, so are you telling me that this is going to be one of those games again? You know, where the only bad person is a white guy? Dragon Age the Veilguard style? Where every single minority is protected with the shield of virtue, who can do no wrong? Every villain is going to be the evil middle management white dude? Oh, didn't work out particularly well for Dragon Age Veilguard as far as I could see, but hey, maybe they know something that we do not. They also point out there, sales are likely to be astronomical, absolutely, and anticipation is so high that some competing game publishers are waiting as long as possible to commit to their release dates for the fall. And there too, anticipation. See, this can potentially be Rockstar's Achilles heel here. 3 things. 1, overconfidence combined with the fact that they're getting rid of a lot of the people who made their previous successes possible. How many? Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. 2, the urge to earn a lot of money now, to earn a lot of money on monetization, on online portion, on pre-orders, etc. And again, the feeling that whatever they do, it will become a success. And 3, the urge now to be a little bit rise above it, you know? Oh, we might be Grand Theft Auto, but we are no longer the crude, crass company we once were. No, we are large enough now to be able to focus on a better story. Yes. In other words, you're going to take the thing that made your game fantastic to begin with, that made it great, that made it into, well, the second largest seller ever behind Mojang's Minecraft. They mention Microsoft's Minecraft up here, which is incorrect. Microsoft does not create Minecraft. It was Mojang. Screw you very much, sir. But this has never worked out for any game that has done it. The urge to essentially piss-take the players that made them great, to feel like they will no longer can create the game they once did because it's not posh enough, it's not modern enough. And, well, this will have been created during the height of that nonsense. Now, again, the indicators at the moment are vague at best. We know nothing for absolute certain by any stretch of the imagination, but more and more and more little red flags are popping up in the distance, aren't they? Worryingly red flags. I think everyone should probably take a chill pill on the game, hold off a little bit, and see once people have gotten a decent amount of into it, because with a game this size, I would be very surprised if Rockstar wasn't able to hide any warts, shall we say, at least beyond the 2-hour refund window. I hope I am being a wizened old cynic, because I'd like to get back into Grand Theft Auto again, and hey, this will be an excellent excuse to do so, but red flags on the horizon often indicate some presence of naughtiness. Rarely is there smoke without the proverbial fire when it comes to progressivism. We shall see, we shall see. Grand Theft Auto 6. What do you guys think about it? How many of you are actually excited for this? How many of you will just buy it outright regardless? And bearing in mind too, potentially the price point. How many of you expect it to be $60? I sure as hell don't. 70 at the absolute bare minimum. Probably more, probably 80. 80 would be my wager. $80 on release. Until then, I've been ArchChat. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.